Hirgit Qaryana, Qlida. In this video, we're going to finish out the book, starting with page 28. Overlap a little bit by a page with what we left off with on part 2. So it's the third part and final part. Here we go at page 28. That's Gemmel. And then we have two Gemmel animals, Gamla, the camel, and Gedya, Gedya. Gemmel, Gemmel ptacha ga, Gemmel skapa ga. Sorry, that's a Gemmel khwasa gi. Gemmel ptacha ga, Gemmel rwasa gu, Gemmel khwasa gi, Gemmel skapa ga. Gaya, Gaya, boy's name. Guba, Guba. Seggi. So here, that Gemmel gets shared. Because in Syriac, we close off our consonants either with an Alap or a vowel or a yud, or, so those are kind of our chairs for the vowel to land on, or we close off our syllables with a consonant. So we always have to have a consonant or at least one of those kind of weak letters to land the vowel. So you see, you have a simket ptacha, sa, and it needs something to land on. And it's going to take the gemmel, so it's going to be sag. So there's your first syllable, it's sag. But then you've got this khwasa, and khwasa is a vowel. And khwasa is a long vowel, it has the yud in it to land it. But it needs something to start it. So it's going to use that gemmel. So going back, we have our two syllables, sag and gi. So that word is S-A-G-G-I. So S-A-G, sag, and then G-I. Now, that double G is not marked in the Syriac. Arabic has a little marker, looks like a W up on top. Syriac doesn't have that, but we know grammatically that it's saggi. Western pronunciation doesn't do it as much, but in Eastern, it's very clear. It's saggi. So, saggi. Gaya hagamla. Maya, water. Remember, it's always plural. Maya min guba. So it's water from the guba. Tau. There's another tau. Looks sort of Eastern. Tau. So, tutha. That is a berry. Tutha. So you have the bull. Taura. It's like Taurus. Taura. It's also the name of the on the months, the 12 divisions of the zodiac. You have Taura for Taurus. Tau skapata, tau zlamate, tau tachata, tau khwasati, tau rawasa tu. Beta. So that's like B-A-Y. You see that yud is a consonant. It's not a vowel. The only vowel in this syllable is the ptacha. So it's ba, bai. So you go ba and you land it on the Y. Bai. And ta. And that one is landed on the Alap. Baita, baita. Sate, sate. So that would be like vines. Kha, tha. Khata, khata, khata. Khata, ha, it, beta, zete. So sister, behold, there is house. Zeta is the olive. So zete, olives. Inna, that's I, you see he's pointing to himself. Inna, ithli, I have. So inna itli. Khata, I have a sister. Inna itli khata. Pe, pe. So words for pe would be like the elephant, pila. Another word for fruits, we learned ebbe. Now we have pere. So you have pe khwasa pi, lamet skapa la, pila, pila. Pe khwasa pi, resh, zlama, re, pire. Pe skapa, pa, pe zlama pe khwasa pi, pe rwasa, pu, pila, pila, pu, ma. So the mouth, pu, ma. For Urmiya speakers, be careful. We have a tendency of doubling the meme in this word. So I'm an Urmi dialect speaker for my mother tongue. So I would say pumma, pumma, right? Pumma. We shouldn't do that. It's pu-ma, pu-ma. And that's noticeable. I mean, I've been corrected on it before, so we can hear it, even though I don't think like an English native speaker would hear it as easily. Tape, tape. Paya, ha, pila, rabba. Paya, it's a boy's name. Paya, behold this great elephant. Ha, pila, rabba. Behold, big elephant. Puma, ape. So that's the face. Like maya, it's always plural. So even though I have one face in English, in Syriac I have my faces. So ape. So he's pointing to his puma on his ape. Then you have cap. We know it's cap because we got that coming below the line. It's not like a Beth where it goes straight here. Cap, and that's a final cap. That's how you see it at the end of a word. And you've got some cap words like dog, kalba, like cup, kasa, also used for the one we use in church, the kasa, ktawa, the book, katu, he writes, katu. So cap, ending cap, there's another ktawa, there's another kalba. Kap, skapa, ka, kap, taha, ka, kap, rwasa, ku, kap, slama, ke, kap, khwasa, ki. Ka, kasa. So we'd say casa. Ku, ka, ku, ka. So I think he's using it for a cookie. Ki, zaki. So zaki. So zaki. So it's a taha, zaki. Kina. So Kina, another boy's name. Sao hana casa, take this cup. Sao hana casa, take this cup. So when we say the words of Christ, like in the anaphora of Nestorus or of Theodorus, we would say, when Christ says take, we say Sao, Sao hana casa, Ked kul kappa. So as all, and the kappa is anything shallow, like a ladle, or especially like the shallow part of your hand, the palm, kappa. So kad kul kappa. So we would say clap hands would be to strike the hollows of the hands. So to strike the kappe, kush kappa, to clap. So there's the word kappa. Ah, so that's that very Semitic ain, ah. And the way you would, I think you'd pronounce this, if you can pronounce the qob, so most people can figure out the q, but the q is very guttural, but it also has a k. So make a qob a few times, but then the last time, don't let the k out and just do it So q, ah, ah. It's ain. So you've got anwe, aina, uzza, uda. Or in the middle of a word, maraitha. You have the sound, like Arabi. So aina, so you see the I. It's the ain. So you've got right here a nice little goat, but we're going to call him uzza. And this boy is eating anbe or anwe. So anbe would be grammatically how you would figure out the softening of the Beth, but in modern we say anwe, and I think I usually hear it even in classical for Eastern. So that's I, I, u, I, azza, uda, aila, aila, ha, Uzza, so behold the Uzza, Aida. So together with the Aida, the feast. So this poor Azza seems like he's going to become the sacrifice for the Aida, for the feast. It's also the word we would use for like any church feast, especially ones of the Lord. Now going back to these, so the Azza is the goat. The Oda can either mean a flock, like the bound up bunch of wool, or it can also be a kind of qupa, of owl, the Oda. And you have Aila, which is a foal. So the Aila, right there you see. It can also be of a jackass's foal, the Aila. Ha Azza am Aila. So behold, the Azza am Aida, for the feast, together with the feast. So another heavy Semitic sound, the Tat, which is a T with your tongue hitting the forward part of your palate. So just get your tongue in that position, curved up in the front, go Ta. So tip of your tongue rolls up on the top of your mouth, and then make your T. Ta, ta. So Tawla. So Tawla is the drum. It sounds like taw, 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 like you're hitting a drum. Tawla. Khatta. So wheat. Khatta. Ta, 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 ti, tu. Ta. So tawa. That's good. Tawa. Tu. Tura. The mountain. Tura. Ti. Ti. Na. Oh, I'm sorry. Tina. That's ti. Ti. Tina. Tina. So like mud. Tura Rama, the high mountain. Tura Rama. And that's so, so. So again, it's that palatized hitting the top of your mouth and making the S. It's that heavy so sound. It should be kind of hard to go from that to a very clean skapa. So if you think of a skapa like ka, ka, ah, so sa, this is going to be hard. You're going to pretty much always be forced into, even when it has a skapa on it, like here. So the sound, you have sa, and then you have that ah, but to go sa, you go sod, sod, right? Because it has that back of the mouth feel to it in the S. And I write it as a translator as an S with a dot under it, Tayat as an T with a dot under it. So let's hit this page. So sade, sade, su, supra, the bird, supra, sapi, saw, se, si, su, sapi, sapi, sabe, sabe, sabe. And pronouncing this would be meaningful. Sawe, he wants. Sawe, he wants. So by syllable it's sa and be, but that beth is softened by the vowel before it, so it becomes sawe, sawe. He wants. He wills. And so the word for will is sawiyana, sawe, is he wants. Nassa. So a nassa is a hawk, or it's a hawk. So in modern it would be nusra. This is nussa, and it's right there. Dada, so it's your father's brother, your paternal uncle. Dada sad nussa. So uncle hunts the hawk. That does not sound very good to me, but dada sad nussa. Shin. So like the word shible for wheat, the corns of wheat. Shimsha. Shaba, like Khoshaba, boy's name Shaba, or the Western Shabo. Sha'ata, Sha'ata, the clock. So Sha, She, She, Sha, Shu. Sha, like Shaba, Khoshaba, Shaba. Sha, Shate, he drinks. Shate, and Sheye, Sheye. So from the top, we've got Sha, Ba, shaba, shate, shate, shaye, shaye, shaye. So shaye is like he washes, particularly water. He shaye, washes something, pours water over it. Shaba, shate, hasha, shaye. Hasha, shate. Now he drinks. Hasha is now hasha, shate. And I present that sh, so I don't put S's and H's together where it can be a simket H. So I put an S with a little V on top of it. That's how I transliterate it. T. So we've done T. There's your tet. So batta. You have a batta there. You've got khatte, wheat. We've covered that word. Khatte. So batta, the duck. Ba-ta, batta. Khatte. You have the plural. So one, a corn would be a khatta, and this is khatte. Corn is in plural. The corns of the wheat. Matti, matti, matti. Dawl, batta, tura, khatte. Tas batta. So tas, he flies. Tas batta. And here we've got a little game. Ha, inna, itli, ktawa. O akha, munhade, ida, hand. Or if you want to be really paying attention, kappa. Un akha munhade kappa. Because I guess that's also the keppa of his hand. The keppa of his shirt. So by extension, the part that goes to your palm, we call it the keppa. The sleeve. Kina. Man itle. Casa. Maybe you'd say meya. Kina. Who has? Man itle. Casa. How yamma ithbe. Nuna. That sea has in it fish. Ho yamma ithbe nuna. Hasha sala ithbe. Ibbe or hasha or hade this. Hade sala ithbe pire. Has fruit. Ibbe or pire. He sapra. So that bird, it's feminine. He sapra. Yathba. So yato if it was masculine. So if you wanted to say like aprim yato, but this is he sapra, the bird, which is feminine. Yathba, she sits. Al, so sauka it would be, or ba'e, I guess we have eggs there. Ba'e. Cap, that's final cap. So you're giving us a lot of final cap here, with the dot under it saying that it's soft. So it's not k, but it's soft. And by soft we mean a sound you can drag out. So if you think about it, b, you can't really drag out b, but you can drag out ooh, the w. You can't really drag out g, but you can drag out oh, or d, but you can drag out z. And now we have k. K, can't really drag that out. It's an explosion. But you can drag out. So that's. So chap. Ach, like. Lach, to thee, to you. Sach. So we have sach. It's a limit. So if you say something like glasacha, that means limitless. You know, he was talking without any hope of him ever being quiet. You know, malasacha, endlessly. And ammach, with you, with thou. So with the singular. So all these are singular. Ach, like, lach, to thee, unto you. Sach, so a limit. And ammach, with you. So it's cha, micha, bache. Of course, this has to come after a vowel or after another letter. It never begins with a ch cap. Ha khanna bakhya. So now Hannah is crying. Ha khanna bakhya. Notice micha with bakhe, but khanna, because she's a girl, she's Hannah, with bakhya. Micha la bakhe. Khanna bakhya. Or we could say khanna la bakhya. Micha bakhe. Qop, as in qa, qi, qu. So she has a very nice little qata. And here is the kind of qanya you write with, which is called for the reeds that you would cut to make qanya. It's also the reed. Qala, so he's making a bunch of noise. Qala, qupa. So there's your qupa and your qata. So qa, qi, qu. Qupa, qupa. Qare, he reads. Also, he calls out. Qala, so the sound. Qupa, qare. So I don't think he's reading. I think here the qupa is calling out. Qupa, qare. Ha qare, qum yosi qum. So the qupa is calling out. Qum yosi qum. Then we have gamel, but it's the soft gamel. It's not the g, it's the r. So you have words like taga, so that's the crown, taga, g, r, ra, ri, re, ru, ra, zara. So he's a zara. He's not a zaga, would make him a bell. So zaga would make him a bell, but he's a zara. He's a pullet. And it's not a Syriac word. It comes, I believe, from Pahlavi, from Middle Persian as zadag, zadag. So zadag, we take that and we make the Syriac word of zara, the pullet. Then you have taga, the crown. Kul zara ithle taga. So every young chicken, every pullet, has a crown. Kul zara ithle taga. Zara rag khatte. So rag is like to desire. So zara rag khatte, he likes wheat. You have simket, as in sala, the basket. So you have words like sawa, sara, yosi, sala, sara, sarah, ha, sala, sara, ha, sala. Sala ithbatine. So the basket is full of figs. That's an awesome basket. Sala ithbatine. Yosi, so sala. Yosi, take the basket. Yosi, so sala. Dada, sawa. Old uncle, sautine. Took the figs. Now we have 42, lemmet, where you see this teacher's putting up a lucha to write on. So that's a lucha, the board that you would write on. Lucha, or tablet. I think tablet's a good translation for it. So think of it as a tablet, and you are going to call it a slate tablet on the wall. So we don't think of it as a chalkboard, but a chalk tablet, a lucha. Khala, male, he fills it. Hade lucha, this is the lucha. Man ithli lucha, who has a lucha? Inna ithli lucha. Khala, so a khala would be your mother's brother, your maternal uncle. So we had dada as your paternal uncle, now we have khala. Khala malelan, so mother's brother, maternal uncle. Malelan fills for us maya, so maybe he fills the water in our cistern. Gamla and guba. We've seen those enough. Gaya, gilla, so the grass or the any kind of grass that would include the kind that's grazed or the kind in front of your house. Guba. Gaya ha gamla. Gamla ra'i, he grazes. Gamla ra'i, gilla. Guba ithba maya. Oh my Rab Gamla. Oh, how big is the Gamla. Oh my Rab Gamla. Batta and Tawla. So Tawla, Tum, Tawla, and Batta. So remember, Waza was the goose and Batta is the duck. So there's a Tat, and you can also see a Tat like that. Please don't confuse it with a Tau. Taus don't connect on this end. So if it connects on this end, it's a Ta, like Tawla, Batta, Khatta, Tura. Ha Tawla Rabba, Batta al Tura, Batta Ba'a, Ba'a. Ba'a is he desires. The Batta Ba'a Khatta. Talia, so a little boy, a young boy. Talia hawle khatte. Little boy, give him some wheat. Talia hawle khatte. So we have kthawa, kasa, and kappa, kap. Kathu. So he writes. Kerka. So kerka is like a notebook. And it comes from the word to krach, to wrap something. So it's a bounded thing that you would write in. Not a bounded thing that you would read, but that you'd write. Kirka. Casa. So we know Casa. And Kina. So good boy's name. It means kind of a righteous one. Zaki Hakasa. Kena Hashakatu. So Kina now writes. Kena Hashakatu. Who, he, who, Katu al Kirka. So he writes on the Kirka. Acha Sohana Casa. Brother, take this cup. Acha Sohana Casa. Casa, Guba, Beta, Gadya. So you have the Gadya. So Kap, Khwasa, Ki, as in Kina, Kina ate, Kina comes. Guba, Hana, Guba. Beta, Beta, Rama. So Rama would be tall. Kha, so Khata. And if you notice, sometimes I pronounce the syllable different than I say it in the word. That's natural in languages, especially if you say words a lot and if you speak the language. So kha, and it's khata. Khata itla zuza. So kha, ta, it, la, zu, za. But naturally we'll say khata itla zuza. Then you have this wazza rabba. And that goose looks like a duck to me, but it's being called a wazza, a goose. Rabba. Here's a gadya, which is a kid. It's a goat kid. Gadya. So we've got nadkar, so dallat kapresh, and the future noon on it. So nadkar, so for people who know, dukhrana means a memorial, and this is nadkar, so call to mind. Nadkar, Ya Lopa, the learner, may the learner call to mind. Shmahe, the names. Surata, of the images, of the pictures. Surata. Ta, Aram, come. Aram. Til al, sit on. Kursya. Kursya. Maram, qalhana. Gamla. Hawdada. صاد هاد نصا أخا ربا, so big brother, أخا ربا إثري شاثة زي تاساو أنوي or أنبي. And we've got the end of the book. We can review our vowels. Ptacha, Skapa, Zlama, Akhwasa, and Rwasa or Asasa. So you've got two words I use for that last one. The first one, Rwasa, is more common in today's Eastern, although before Asasa was also used. And Asasa is usually the word used in the West, but they mean the same thing. First part of the book, I favored Asasa, second part, Rwasa, so be used to hearing it. But if you're mostly dealing with the Eastern world, you would think of Tacha, Skapa, Zlama. Now, of course, Eastern, writing, we differentiate two kinds of zlama, but the West doesn't have that, so I just call it with zlama. Khwasa, and then rwasa. And if you're Western, you'll call this last one azasa or asoso. But just to know why I did that, so that neither would be unfamiliar, because we will look at grammar books, I hope, down the line, and both will be used. And again, ignorance is the art of trying not to know something because it's not yours. So I teach things in a broader sense, so that we don't purposely practice ignorance. So let's begin with Alap, Beth, Gamal, Dalat, which we can remember, Abgad, He, Waw, Zain, Hawaz, Khat, Qat, Yut, Khati, Kab, Lamat, Mim, Noon, Kal, Man, Simket, I, Pe, Sade, Sa'pas, Qob, Resh, Shin, Tau, Qarshat. I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications, especially if you're into learning the language, so you get updates on this. Thank you very much, and God bless. Goodbye.